June 15, 1904, New York City, Wednesday morning. A beautiful summer day. St. Mark's Evangelical Lutheran Church in Little Germany, Manhattan, is organizing their annual picnic. A ferry called the General Slocum will take them up the East River to a park on Long Island. 1,358 people board, mostly women and children. The men are at work, mothers, daughters, grandmothers, babies. Entire families excited for a day in the sun. At 10:30 a.m., the General Slocum leaves the dock. By 10:40 a.m., the boat is on fire. By 11 a.m., over 1,000 people are dead, drowned, burned, in the East River, in sight of Manhattan, with hundreds of people watching from shore, unable to help. This is the General Slocum disaster, the deadliest disaster in New York City history until September 11, 2001, and the day an entire neighborhood died. St. Mark's Lutheran Church served the German immigrant community in Manhattan's Lower East Side, Little Germany, Kleindeutschland, tens of thousands of German immigrants living in a tight-knit community, speaking German, maintaining traditions. The annual church picnic was the highlight of summer. Everyone went, mostly women and children because the men worked. Fathers stayed behind, sent their families to enjoy the day. Captain William van Schaick commanded the General Slocum, 60 years old, experienced. He'd been piloting the ferry for years. The boat was licensed to carry 2,500 passengers. Today it carried 1,358, well under capacity. 3 decks, a paddle wheel steamboat, wooden construction, built in 1891, 13 years old, inspected regularly, passed all inspections, certified safe. But the General Slocum was a death trap. The life jackets were ancient. Cork filling had rotted to dust. They wouldn't float. The fire hoses were rotten, would burst under pressure. The lifeboats were wired to the deck, painted over so many times they couldn't be moved. None of this was checked. The inspections were rubber stamps, bribes, corruption. Nobody cared as long as money changed hands. 10 a.m. The General Slocum departs. Passengers fill all 3 decks, children running, mothers chatting, grandmothers sitting in the sun. A band plays. People sing German songs. This is joy. This is community. This is family. The ferry heads up the East River. Destination, Locust Grove on Long Island. A park with picnic areas, games for children. The trip takes about an hour. 10:30 a.m. The boat passes 90th Street on the Manhattan side. A 12-year-old boy exploring below decks smells smoke, sees flames in a storage room, the lamp room, filled with hay, oil cans, paint, highly flammable materials. The fire is already spreading. The boy runs to tell a crew member. The crew member investigates, tries to fight the fire with a hose. The hose bursts, rotten fabric. Water sprays uselessly. The fire spreads faster, reaches the main deck. Passengers still don't know. They're singing, laughing. Then someone yells, "Fire!" Panic begins. Captain van Schaick is in the wheelhouse, gets word of the fire. He has 2 choices: turn toward the nearby Manhattan shore and beach the boat, get everyone off quickly, or keep going to North Brother Island, another mile ahead. He chooses to keep going, at full speed. The worst decision possible. The wind from the boat's forward motion fans the flames, turns the fire into an inferno. If he'd stopped immediately and beached on Manhattan, most would have survived. Instead, he drives forward at 15 knots, feeding the fire. The wooden boat is covered in multiple layers of paint, highly flammable. The fire spreads across the decks impossibly fast. Women and children run from the flames, nowhere to go. The boat is surrounded by water. Most can't swim. In 1904, swimming wasn't taught to women and girls. Heavy dresses, petticoats, corsets, all soaking up water like sponges, pulling them down. Crew members try to launch lifeboats. The boats are wired to the deck. won't move, painted over repeatedly, stuck solid. People grab life jackets, put them on children, jump into the water. The life jackets don't float. The cork inside has turned to powder. Dead weight. Children wearing life jackets sink immediately. Mothers watch their children disappear beneath the water, weighed down by the very things meant to save them. The General Slocum is fully engulfed now. Flames on all 3 decks. People jumping into the river. Women in heavy dresses sinking. Children drowning. The boat finally reaches North Brother Island. 10:50 a.m. Van Schaick beaches it. But it's too late. The boat is an inferno. Most passengers are already in the water, drowning, burning. On North Brother Island, nurses and patients from the hospital run to help. Riverside Hospital, a quarantine hospital for infectious diseases. They wade into the water, pulling people out, grabbing children. Most are already dead, bodies floating everywhere. The water is full of bodies, women, children, some still burning. People on the Manhattan and Bronx shores watch in horror. Helpless, too far to reach. Small boats launch, trying to rescue survivors, pulling bodies from the water. Most are dead. A few survivors, burned, in shock, asking for family members who are gone. The final count, 1,021 dead. 1,021 people. Most were women and children, some entire families, mothers and all their children, sisters together, grandmothers and granddaughters. 40 people with the last name Weber died, 33 Schneiders, 26 Schmidts. Entire family trees erased. In Little Germany, fathers came home from work to empty apartments, their wives gone, their children gone. Everyone dead. Some men lost everyone. Wife, all children, mother, sisters, everything. In one day, one family lost the mother and all 9 children. The father survived because he was at work, came home to nothing. St. Mark's Lutheran Church lost nearly its entire congregation. The church that organized the picnic lost the families that made up the community. The next Sunday service was nearly empty. A church of ghosts. The pastor lost his own family in the fire. The funerals lasted for weeks. Multiple funerals every day. Coffins lining the streets. Many were children. The smallest coffins, families buried together. Mass graves for the unidentified. The neighborhood was destroyed. Not physically, emotionally, socially. The heart ripped out. Little Germany never recovered. The community fell apart. The grief was too much, the memories too painful. German families moved away, scattered. Within 10 years, Little Germany ceased to exist. The neighborhood that had been the center of German immigrant life in New York simply disappeared, replaced by other immigrant groups. The General Slocum killed more than 1,021 people. It killed an entire community. The investigation revealed everything. The life jackets were worthless, hadn't been inspected in years. The fire hoses were rotten. The lifeboats were unusable. The ship should never have passed inspection. But it did, every time, because inspectors were bribed, because nobody cared about safety, because profit mattered more than lives. Captain Van Schaick was charged with criminal negligence and manslaughter. His decision to continue at full speed instead of beaching immediately killed hundreds. He was convicted, sentenced to 10 years, served 3.5, released early. The steamship company owners were charged, acquitted. Nobody else was held accountable. The inspectors who took bribes, never charged. Congress passed new safety laws. The Seamen's Act of 1915, stricter inspections, better safety equipment, life jacket standards, fire safety requirements. The General Slocum disaster changed maritime law. But it was too late for the 1,021 who died. A memorial stands today in Tompkins Square Park in what was Little Germany. A small plaque, a fountain dedicated to the children. Most New Yorkers walk past without noticing. The deadliest disaster in New York City history for 97 years, until September 11th, and most people have never heard of it. Bodies continued washing up for weeks. Some traveled miles down the East River. Some were never found. Families buried empty coffins, mourned without remains. The East River became a mass grave. June 15, 1904. A church picnic, a beautiful summer day, a ferry full of mothers and children, a fire that spread too fast, life jackets that didn't float, a captain who made the wrong choice. 1,021 dead, mostly women and children. Entire families gone. A neighborhood that never recovered. The worst maritime disaster in New York City history. And a tragedy most people have never heard of. This is the General Slocum disaster, where safety equipment designed to save lives became instruments of death, where a community's joy turned to grief in 30 minutes, where fathers came home to empty houses, where an entire neighborhood died, and where New York lost over 1,000 souls in sight of Manhattan. June 15th, 1904, 10:30 a.m. A beautiful day. Families excited for a picnic. By 11 a.m., over 1,000 were dead, and little Germany died with them.